Many people believe that in the 21st century, there is no longer any place for myths and legends. However, new testimonies continue to appear online, suggesting that our world is not as simple as it seems, and that an encounter with the unexplained can happen at any moment.
I'm just here because of my graduation. I just graduated and I'm seeing a fucking fairy in real life.
In this video, I offer you a selection of the most incredible stories about fantastic creatures and unexplained phenomena. Enjoy watching. A resident of Beverly Hills captured a strange phenomenon on camera. At first, smoke formed in the sky, drifting like fog, gradually changing shape and rising upward. At one point, the smoke took on the clear outline of a floating woman with long gray hair dressed in rags. The woman was so shocked that she quickly filmed what was happening and hurried away from the place. She is sure that she encountered a real witch. These images were filmed in August 2021 in Bar Harbor, Maine. The video shows a phenomenon that seems impossible. A palm tree slowly moves through the air without any visible support. One might think the tree was carried by a gust of wind, but that is not the case, because it moves through the air very slowly and smoothly. After the video was published, some attentive viewers noticed that the frame does not show what is on the right. This allowed them to suggest that the palm tree was suspended from a crane used to remove cut trees. However, the author of the video insists that the tree moved on its own, without outside help. A man was walking through a dense forest in the state of New York when he suddenly heard a strange rustling among the trees. He headed toward the sound and saw a giant cockroach moving across the white snow. The cockroach was so enormous that the man could not believe his eyes. No insect known to him reached such a size. The man took out his camera and began filming the strange creature, hoping to later find an explanation for what he had seen. However, when the video appeared online, most viewers considered it a hoax. The eyewitness never received an answer to the question of what he had encountered in the forest. In a remote deserted area of Mongolia lies a mysterious lake surrounded by ancient legends. Local residents believe that its waters react to the approach of people, and the lake begins to overflow its banks as if driving them away. Several tourists who had heard about this anomaly decided to test the legend. They reached the lake and stood on the shore, waiting for any sign. Suddenly, the previously calm surface of the water began to bubble, and the water started rapidly moving toward them. The travelers were both amazed and frightened. Despite the mysticism, scientists find a completely natural explanation for this. It may be caused by underground currents, gas emissions from the bottom, or even resonance from distant seismic vibrations. But for those who believe in the mystical, the lake will forever remain a place where nature keeps its ancient secrets. During a trip through Australia, the author of this video encountered an unknown creature. When the man went outside, he found a giant insect on the hood of his car. It resembled a mosquito or a fly and was the size of a palm. Before the creature flew away, the man managed to film it on camera. Later, he posted the video online to find out what kind of insect it was. Viewers suggested that it was one of Australia's unusual species, since this continent is known for gigantism among insects. Nevertheless, the creature could not be identified with certainty. Taiwanese fisherman Wei Chengjiang caught a strange green creature with a long pink appendage resembling a tongue. He filmed it on camera and posted the recording online. Users suggested that it was a ribbon worm, a representative of the phylum Nemertea. These predators feed on mollusks and crustaceans, moving with the help of cilia. Usually, nemerteans do not exceed 20 centimeters in length, but sometimes they grow much larger. These unusual creatures live in fresh waters of the tropics and subtropics and are distinguished by a variety of shapes and colors. Uganda is located directly on the equator, on the border between the northern and southern hemispheres. Enterprising locals came up with a way to profit from this geographical feature. They offer tourists the chance to participate in an unusual experiment. Guests are shown an experiment with a funnel and a flower. On the northern side, the water with the flower rotates clockwise, and just a few steps away, on the southern side, it rotates in the opposite direction. It looks very convincing, but in reality, it is simply a clever trick. Many people have heard that the rotation of the Earth creates the Coriolis effect. It is this effect that causes cyclones to rotate in different directions in different hemispheres. However, for a small funnel, this effect does not work. The direction of water rotation in it depends on other factors, such as the shape of the funnel or exactly how the water was poured. So the miracle on the equator is only an interesting trick. These images were filmed in a village in Nigeria. Local fishermen went to check their nets and were shocked when they found something in them that resembled a snake. When they pulled the catch closer to the shore, it became clear that this was no ordinary animal. Before them was a terrifying creature with the body of a snake and the upper body of a human. Fearing that the creature might harm the villagers, the fishermen tightened the net. But according to them, it turned out to be incredibly strong. The creature tore through the net and broke free. The fishermen are sure they had caught a naga, a mythical serpent-like spirit known in the mythology of many countries. In legends, nagas are often described as half-human, half-snake beings living in luxurious underwater palaces. They are considered guardians of treasure and water, and they also possess magical abilities. Nagas can change shape and cast curses. In 2023, a strange video appeared online. The footage shows a white horse being chased by a terrifying humanoid creature with long arms. Its movements are sharp and fast because of its great height, and it looks extremely frightening. When the horse came closer to the person filming, the monster seemed to become frightened by the observer's presence and disappeared. After this incident, no one ever saw the mysterious creature again. Viewers still argue about what it could have been: a mythical beast, an unknown animal, or simply a hoax. The author of the video woke up late at night because his dog was barking loudly. He decided that someone had entered the property and went outside to find out what was happening. Despite the owner's appearance, the dog kept barking, frozen near a large tree. The man looked up and saw a horrifying creature sitting on a branch, resembling a bat. Looking closer, he noticed human-like facial features, a muscular body, and membranous wings. Suddenly, the monster jumped down to the ground and showed an animal-like grin. Then, flashing its eyes, it rose into the air and disappeared into the darkness of the night. The homeowner still does not know who or what he encountered that night, but he is convinced that it was not an animal, but something mystical. This video appeared online recently, but it has already gained more than 1 million views and caused heated debates among viewers. The footage shows a strange object. At first glance, it looks like a plant, but its movements reveal that it is a living creature. Some viewers are sure that it is a monster with tentacles, resembling an octopus. Others believe that the author of the video managed to film a real mandrake. In European mythology and folklore, the mandrake is a magical plant endowed with human features and supernatural properties. Mandrake roots sometimes resemble a human figure, and legends say that when pulled from the ground, it produces a deadly scream. Mandrake was used in potions and rituals, and people attributed to it the power of love, spells, healing, and even resurrection. In medieval and magical treatises, the mandrake was considered one of the most powerful and dangerous plants. These images may seem strange and even unreal. They show an unusual waitress moving through a busy restaurant, or more precisely, only her lower half. Legs in black tights, shorts, and high-heeled shoes move with a graceful gait, pushing a cart with dishes. Many viewers initially thought the video had been created with artificial intelligence, but later, the author of the video admitted that it was a robot. Why the creators limited themselves to only the lower half of the body remains a mystery. Perhaps the restaurant owners wanted to surprise guests with unusual service, or perhaps it was part of an experimental project. In any case, the spectacle turned out to be unusual and memorable. Tourists vacationing in the Philippines encountered a strange creature in a dense forest. It was sitting high in a tree, and the travelers managed to film it on camera. The creature vaguely resembled a monkey, but its face combined features of a beaver and a koala. The tourists suggested that they had encountered a cryptid, an animal whose existence has not been confirmed by science. However, they could not determine exactly what the creature was. Later, local residents told the eyewitnesses about mysterious beings living in this forest, creatures that protect the jungle and try never to meet people. Perhaps it was one of those creatures. The author of the video was resting in nature when he noticed a strange creature. At first, it seemed to him to be a very small snake, but when he came closer, he saw that the creature's head was shaped like a hammer. Not knowing what kind of animal it was, the man filmed it on camera. After the video was published, many users recognized the creature as a bipalium, or hammerhead worm. Bipalia are predatory land planarians that hunt earthworms, mollusks, and other small invertebrates. Their characteristic hammer-shaped head helps them navigate space and track prey. These worms secrete mucus that makes movement easier and helps capture food. They are most often found in tropical and subtropical climates. A video recently appeared online that once again revived talk of the Montauk Monster. This time, a strange creature was washed up on one of the beaches in California. It resembled a hybrid of a dog and a pig. The creature had white, hairless skin, 4 legs, and a long tail. Its entire appearance indicated a land-based lifestyle, so how this creature ended up in the water remains a mystery. Interestingly, similar cases, when strange creatures were washed ashore after storms, have already occurred in the United States. One such creature received the nickname Montauk Monster after its body was found on a beach near Montauk, New York in 2008. At that time, photographs of the unknown creature caused a stir in the media and online. Many suggested that it was some animal unknown to science or even a mutant. However, experts and zoologists, after studying the images, concluded that most likely it was the decomposed corpse of a raccoon or another known animal, whose appearance had been distorted by seawater and natural processes after death. A woman was walking through a park with friends when she suddenly noticed a strange white object in the air. At first, she thought it was bird fluff, but after looking closer, she realized that the object behaved completely differently. It changed its trajectory, rose and descended, and sometimes even flew against the wind. Then she took out her camera, zoomed in, and began filming. It turned out that it was not fluff at all, but a tiny white creature with wings, a head, a body, arms, and legs. The woman suggested that it could have been a fairy. Although science does not confirm the existence of fairies, they remain popular characters in fairy tales and legends, and sometimes videos appear online that make people wonder whether these creatures are not just fiction. One afternoon, a man went for a walk near his house and turned into a quiet alley. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to a strange glowing object. It was hanging in the air, less than a meter above the ground. Its shape was complex and resembled something extraterrestrial, so the eyewitness decided to film the object. When the video appeared online, viewers began proposing their own versions. Some saw it as a kind of hologram and even linked it to alien intelligence. Others insisted on the object's supernatural origin, suggesting it could be a spirit or even an angel. Despite many hypotheses, the nature of the phenomenon remained a mystery. A man was filming an old building when something strange suddenly appeared in the frame, a translucent vortex resembling a miniature tornado. It seemed to descend from the sky and was visible only from a certain angle. For a second, the man even thought it was the trace of a spaceship and that aliens would soon appear from the glowing column. But after a few minutes, the vortex disappeared without a trace. After the video was posted on social media, many viewers agreed that it was an ordinary dust devil made visible by sunlight. But for the author of the video, the phenomenon remained something extraterrestrial. A photographer shared online footage from his trip to a frozen waterfall located near Hope in British Columbia. The footage showed amazing ice spheres, and at first, many people could not believe their eyes. The ice spheres looked so smooth and perfect that they were considered the result of Photoshop or an art installation, but this is a real creation of nature. The formation of the balls is explained by a special combination of conditions: falling water splashes, droplets instantly freeze in the cold, and currents and whirlpools gently rotate the forming blocks. Gradually, layer by layer, the ice builds up and almost perfect spheres are formed. Several years ago, a mysterious video appeared online and caused intense discussion. The video shows a hospital patient standing in an empty room. Then she raises her hands and a heavy metal door instantly moves from its place, after which it crumples into a shapeless mass as if made of foil. Users who watched the video began making all kinds of assumptions, trying to explain what they had seen. Some saw it as a manifestation of incredible mind power, while others believed it was the result of a secret experiment to give people supernatural abilities. Unfortunately, there is no confirmed information about the authenticity of the recording, so we can only guess what actually happened in that room. In April 2026, a fantastic natural event unfolded in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Hail the size of a chicken egg fell there. The storm hit Tabuk province, where wind gusts reached 80 kilometers per hour, and the air temperature jumped to plus 38 degrees Celsius. People filmed hailstones of incredible size and shared photos and videos on social media. In Riyadh, the desert was temporarily covered with a dense layer of hail, turning into an endless white field. In some places, the hail layer reached 10 to 15 centimeters. Meteorologists linked the anomaly to a rare mixing of moist air masses from the Red Sea with scorching desert air. Similar phenomena are recorded in the region no more than once every 15 to 20 years. A man filmed an elderly resident of his village, known among the locals for his unusual abilities. In the footage, the grandfather places an egg on a frying pan and begins saying something. After a few seconds, he carefully cracks the egg with a small knife, and instead of the usual contents, there are black beetles inside. The author of the video claims that the elderly man did this with magic. However, many viewers are skeptical. They are sure that the beetles had been placed inside the egg in advance. In 2023, a strange video filmed in a village in South Africa appeared online. The footage shows a girl sitting on the ground and a shaman performing a ritual over her. If you look closely, you can notice something astonishing. Goat legs with hooves are visible from under the girl's dress, and a goat tail can be seen behind her. Apparently, the girl acquired this appearance recently, and the shaman is trying to correct the situation and return her to her usual form. Many viewers became interested in what had happened to the girl, but the story remains silent about it. Friends were filming a video while traveling through the mountains. When they approached a faucet to wash their hands, the young man made several movements as if praying, and suddenly water began flowing from the faucet. You might think there was nothing special about this, since the faucet was equipped with a motion sensor. But when a woman approached the sink and tried to repeat the man's actions, the water did not flow. This suggested that the young man had used magic and turned on the water. The mystery of this miracle was quickly solved when the camera operator showed the full structure of the sink and faucet. It turned out that it was all about the filming angle and a pedal that released water when pressed by foot. A tourist traveling through the southwestern part of Africa noticed a dust whirlwind in the distance and decided to observe the natural phenomenon. Coming closer, he was shocked because before him was not just a cloud of dust, but a mystical creature. It appeared from the ground in a vortex of red dust and then crumbled, turning into a small pile of sand. Local residents call this creature a dust spirit and consider it the guardian of the desert. According to their beliefs, the spirit can provoke deadly natural disasters, so people try to avoid meeting it. The author of the video claims to have witnessed a terrifying ritual. The footage shows a room with a small altar holding figurines and a cross. Fire burns throughout the room, but it is not a fire in the usual sense. The flames seem to exist on their own. At one point, the fire begins to behave strangely. It twists into a spiral resembling a miniature tornado, and then begins to change color, shifting from orange to blue and back again. Then the raging spiral calms down and disappears, while the objects on the altar remain whole and unharmed. It seems that dark magic is involved in this ritual. The author of this video witnessed an unusual phenomenon in Japan. The footage shows a snowy landscape with white snowdrifts and trees. Suddenly, near the top of one of the trees, a flame appears and immediately goes out. The fire appears and disappears again and again, as if someone is turning it on and off with a snap. According to the eyewitness, this continued for about 2 minutes, after which everything ended. The video was published in 2023, but to this day, no one has been able to give a clear explanation for the phenomenon. A video recently appeared online and is rapidly gaining popularity. The footage shows what at first appears to be an ordinary streetlight. But on closer inspection, a frightening detail becomes visible. From behind the pole, 2 pale hands with long, thin fingers can be seen. It seems as if a very thin creature is hiding behind the pole. According to the eyewitness, the hands periodically twitched as if trying to grab the air. The man was so frightened that he did not dare come closer and examine the mysterious creature, so who was hiding behind the pole remains a mystery. A man noticed that 2 unusual trees were growing near his house. They were positioned exactly opposite each other and seemed to mirror one another. What surprised him most was that the distance between them constantly changed. It would shrink and then increase. In addition, birds never landed on these trees. To check whether it only seemed to him that the trees were moving, the man decided to conduct an experiment. He tied a rope between the trunks and left it there for several days. When he returned, it turned out that the tightly stretched rope had noticeably sagged. This meant that the trees had really reduced the distance between them. Such stories echo ancient legends claiming that trees can move. Of course, from a scientific point of view, trees cannot walk, but their roots and trunks deform over time under the influence of soil, wind, and other factors, which can create the illusion of movement. The author of the video saw a giant bird in the sky and turned on his camera to film it. When the creature flew closer, he was shocked because it turned out not to be a bird, but a man with wings covered in lush feathers. The man posted the video online, and it quickly gained many views. Viewers still argue about who or what it could have been. Some are sure that it could have been an angel. Others suggest that the creature belongs to some unknown species of intelligent winged beings. Still others are more skeptical and believe it was an ordinary person who invented a high-tech winged suit that allowed him to fly. A resident of San Diego captured an unusual natural phenomenon on camera. According to her, she noticed strange rain that fell in an even strip and gradually moved toward her like a wall. The boundary between dry and wet asphalt remained perfectly clear, and it looked very unusual. From a scientific point of view, this phenomenon can be explained by the local nature of precipitation. Such wall-like rain occurs during sharp changes in atmospheric pressure and temperature, when a narrow zone of condensation forms a narrow front of rain. This often happens at the boundary between warm and cold air masses, where precipitation falls very intensely but over a limited area. Similar phenomena are often observed in coastal regions like San Diego, where sea breezes and temperature contrasts create ideal conditions for such fantastic rains. This man posted a video online that instantly went viral. In the footage, he demonstrates his superpower. We see plastic bowls and chairs standing on the ground begin to move and spin. At the same time, the man makes mysterious hand movements, as if controlling the objects. Then he sets a sheet of paper on fire and begins to control the burning sheet. Surprisingly, the flame does not burn his hands and obediently follows the movements of his palms. After watching the video, viewers were divided. Some are sure that this is black magic or a manifestation of telekinesis, while others insist that it is all a masterfully performed trick. Friends went fishing in Biscayne Bay, in Miami. At first, the catch was completely ordinary, but then they pulled out something strange. It was a smooth, coal-black creature with bizarre protrusions resembling jelly. It looked as if it had fallen into the water from another planet. The fishermen did not understand what it was and filmed the catch on camera. After the video was published, users recognized the creature as a black sea hare. These mollusks live in the waters of the Pacific Ocean, mainly along the coast of California and Mexico. They can reach impressive sizes up to 75 centimeters in length and weigh several kilograms, making them some of the largest representatives of their kind. Despite their alien appearance, these creatures are completely harmless to humans. A hunter set up a camera in the forest to observe local animals. However, instead of wildlife, he captured a very strange phenomenon. At first, the footage seems completely ordinary because it shows a tall tree. But if you look closely, it becomes noticeable that the left side of the roots suddenly begins to move. They expand and then contract. Everything happens very slowly, as if the tree is breathing or even trying to pull out its roots. This sight involuntarily recalls ancient legends about living trees. Folklore from different peoples around the world contains references to forest spirits that embody themselves in trees and can move across the ground. Perhaps ancient tales were born from observations of similar phenomena, which at first glance seem inexplicable. A man was walking down the street at night and saw a strange creature. From a distance, he took it for a pile of garbage, but soon noticed that it was moving. The creature did not resemble any known animal, so the man decided to call the police. When the officers arrived and looked at the creature, they decided that further inspection was outside their competence and urgently called scientists. At the same time, the police stayed to patrol the area so that no passers-by would come close to the mysterious creature. The scientists quickly transported the creature to a laboratory for research. However, the results of the analysis were never made public, leaving the story shrouded in mystery. A video posted by an anonymous user shows a fiery object racing rapidly across an open field. It sets the grass on fire along its path, leaving a strip of flame behind it. The whole scene looked very strange, so viewers began arguing about what had been captured on camera. Some people believe it could have been some rare natural phenomenon. Others suggest that a burning object was rolling across the field, carried by the wind. However, skeptics are sure that the video was created using editing. Many people call this video from Milwaukee creepy and disturbing. In the video, we see a man approaching two friends. Outwardly, he looks ordinary, but there is something frightening about his appearance. When he turns his head to the side, it becomes clear that his ears look as if they are about to tear off. The man asks the friends for help. He claims he is wearing a mask that he cannot remove. Perhaps this explains the strange shape of his ears. But you must admit, if it really is a mask, it looks too realistic, as if made of real flesh. During a walk, a resident of the United Kingdom noticed a very unusual cloud in the sky and immediately began filming it. Clouds often take on strange shapes resembling familiar objects, but this looked completely different and had a clear geometric form resembling a cube. One of its faces was turned toward the sun and shone brightly, as if illuminated from within. Against the background of gray clouds, it shone like a perfect white square. The video of this phenomenon quickly spread online, and users began proposing all kinds of theories, from alien technology to a glitch in the Matrix. Scientists, however, treat such phenomena much more calmly. They explain it by saying that under a certain combination of humidity, temperature, and air currents, an illusion of clear geometric shapes can occur. And the glowing face is simply the effect of sunlight refracting on ice crystals inside the cloud. Creekside Vet Clinic published shocking footage. It shows a calf that looks like a mystical monster. As it turned out, the animal suffered from cyclopia, an extremely rare congenital developmental defect. With this condition, the eyeballs completely or partially merge and are located in a single eye socket in the center of the face, creating a frightening appearance. Cyclopia occurs in the embryo at early stages because of genetic disorders or the influence of negative factors. This anomaly is almost always incompatible with life. Affected animals are either born dead or die shortly after birth. A woman was riding in a car with her son when something incredible happened. The boy released an empty drinking water bottle from his hands, and it suddenly rose upward, freezing in the air in a vertical position, as if ignoring the laws of gravity. The woman was shocked by what she saw. She stopped the car and managed to film a short fragment on her phone, after which the bottle fell. The video quickly spread online and became the subject of active discussion. Viewers proposed many theories. Some believe the boy unconsciously displayed paranormal abilities. Others think the car entered an anomalous zone where the laws of physics were temporarily distorted. Skeptics, however, are sure it was nothing more than a well-planned trick. A man filmed an unusual phenomenon on camera. The footage shows what seemed to be an ordinary cloud slowly beginning to descend toward the ground. As it approached, it changed shape and began to rotate. Such maneuvers are not typical of ordinary clouds, so it looked as if someone was controlling it. The eyewitness is sure that he saw not a cloud, but a disguised UFO. Some ufologists do believe that alien aircraft can generate a cloud veil around themselves, completely blending into the sky. This camouflage allows them to remain unnoticed. A man went fishing and suddenly noticed something strange and frightening underwater. He managed to capture the mysterious object on camera, but it could not be identified. The footage shows an unusual formation that produced many guesses. Some viewers decided that it was the remains of two octopuses tangled together by their tentacles. Others saw two humanoid creatures with strange anatomical features in the object. There were many attempts to identify the creature, but despite all the arguments, all viewers agreed that the fisherman had encountered something truly terrifying. A resident of Pakistan filmed a video that left viewers confused. At first glance, you might think the footage shows the slope of a mountain with a deep crack. But after a few seconds, it becomes clear that this is not a fracture, but a huge crawling creature resembling a snake. Its size is astonishing, because none of the snakes known today can boast such a length. The author posted the video online, hoping to find out what kind of creature he had seen, but viewers only offered suggestions ranging from a mutating snake to a cryptid, while some were skeptical of the video and considered it a hoax. That is all for me. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell. For me, your activity is the best reward. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.